Well, let me ask you about the debate in and of itself. I know you're very happy about the way it turned out. Many observers say that when you get to see a candidate unfiltered, talking directly to voters, it trumps any media lens that might be at play.
Oh, absolutely right. And my father understood that also. He understood who the audience truly was when he was debating Jimmy Carter or Walter Mondale or speaking to Mikhail Gorbachev or giving his tear down the wall speech or the evil empire speech. He understood where the audience was and who the audience was going to be. And I think that Mitt Romney just so pulled that off the other night, and it's showing in the polls and every place else.
I found it very interesting. Is it true that right after the debate that you tweeted that this was the best debate by a Republican since Lincoln?
That's what I said. You know, it's easy for me to say the best since Reagan. Everybody was saying that. But, you know, my father, we remember a line here and a line there when he debated Jimmy Carter or Mondale. And there were great debates, of course. But the debate that Mitt Romney put on the other night was not a Ronald Reagan debate. It was a Mitt Romney debate. The grasp of the issues, the way he, in fact, went on the offensive against the President of the United States of America from the beginning to the end. There was great moments all the way through. There wasn't one, there were many. And that's why I said the best debate, I think, since Lincoln. And I say that to honor Mitt Romney for what he did and not tie him to Ronald Reagan. I think we make a mistake when we keep on looking for Ronald Reagan. We weren't looking for Abraham Lincoln when we found Ronald Reagan. We were looking for a leader, and I think the other night we found one.
It's very interesting you put it in that perspective, because so many people feel, so many conservatives feel that your father set the bar, the high bar, when it comes to these presidential debates.
Yeah, I think they probably did, because that's the only person they've been able to quote since the 1980s. They haven't had another Republican to really quote since the 1980s. Well, now there is another Republican. I introduced Mitt Romney a couple years ago here in Los Angeles, the California Club, and I said to the group that was there, let's not make a mistake of looking for the next Ronald Reagan, because if we do that, we may very well walk right past the next great leader of our movement. And that is something that has always concerned me, because when you put somebody up against Ronald Reagan, they're going to just fail simply because it's Ronald Reagan. So let Mitt Romney have his moment, applaud him for what he did, and not try to tie him to the past, but look to the future.
Why do you think so many people say you need to have that phrase, that special sentence in a debate that can be remembered for people going forward, for the future, for generations to come? Why do you have to have that pivotal moment in debates that people yearn for?
Those have been game changers. Whether the age issue with Mondale, there you go again, or are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Great moments in time. This is a different time. This is a different place than we were back in 1980. Even though there's many similarities, the society is different today than it was back in the 1980s. And so we have to change and understand it from that viewpoint.
Let me ask you, going forward, what are some of your expectations as Mitt Romney prepares for his next big face-off with the president?
He can't have a down moment. I think what happened, and we see it in the polls, you see the polls changing. The things are getting closer. In some cases, Mitt Romney's gone into the lead. People saw these two for the first time together. He cannot let down. He's got to do the same thing in the next two debates he did in the first debate. He's got to show that consistency and a real grasp of the issues at hand that are in fact hurting America today, and how he's going to fix it.
And do you expect that going forward that he will continue to build on the momentum that he's had up to this point?
I think there's many people in my position that certainly hope so. You know, one of the questions I ask Uma is not, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Are you safer today than you were 4 years ago? And there's a lot of people who, in fact, don't feel safer today than they did 4 years ago. And about California, you know, all you have to do is say, are you better off today than you were yesterday afternoon when gas was 40 cents cheaper?
No, that's a very valid point, because gasoline prices there, of course, are soaring by the moment, as you put it. And as we sum up and take stock of what's at play right now, what is your biggest takeaway over the last couple of weeks in the way the media has handled this race and the way that the media has viewed Mitt Romney?
I'm not surprised with the media. They weren't friendly to Ronald Reagan. They'd never been friendly to Republicans. And so my father had to buy time in order to get around the media. I mean, the other night, Mitt Romney proved his strength and what it truly is. And I think he can't let the media put him on the defensive. He can't let the president put him on the defensive. When he's on the defensive, he loses. When he goes on the offensive, we found out he wins. Stay on the offense, not the defense. As my wife once said to me, don't let somebody else's attitude determine yours for the remainder of the day. So don't let him do that.
Very interesting perspective and wise words indeed. Michael Reagan, thank you so much for joining us today. A pleasure having you here.
Uma.